Hello, everybody. I just want to kick off by saying what an honour it is to be introduced by a childhood hero, Professor Rob Morrison. I dismantled every single one of my parents' kitchen and household appliances because of the Curiosity Show. And my mum's over there. I think she wants to have a word with you later on. All right. So I'll just kick off. So carbon is the most magical element on Earth. I say magical because the slide is not working. It's present in everything alive. Everything that lives needs carbon in order to thrive, grow, and survive. It's in the air that we're all breathing right now. It's in the cells in our body. It's in the food that we eat, and it is all around us. There's a hot dog to prove that the food we eat contains carbon. So carbon, the biological effects of carbon is not what I'm here to talk about. I'm here to talk about the geological side of carbon. Carbon is found in 3 different forms on Earth, or 3 different ways of finding carbon, which is the 2 allotropes, graphite and diamond. And 10 points for the people who thought that the jeweler was going to talk about diamond, because that is exactly what I'm here to do. It's abundant on Earth, but also the way that we find diamond, even though it's part of my profession and I do love it, it's found in two different ways we can find it. So one is through volcanic eruptions in the Earth. The other one is through, which is the coolest one of all, which is that they rain down on us from cosmic debris, which I think it rains diamonds, like hello. And the other way is that we can create them now in the lab, which is also very cool. I'm going to talk about that a bit later. But the eruptions are the way that we actually find it, in my industry at least. And the eruptions, in order for it to occur, the diamonds need to form in the lower mantle. Ooh, I've gone too far. They need to form there. An eruption needs to occur underneath that, but it needs to occur with such a force that it pushes those diamonds straight through the mantle and into the crust, where technology that we have today is good enough or sufficiently good enough to extract it. And where our diamond mines are located, as represented by this lovely red circle underneath me, is they're called kimberlite shafts. And so every diamond mine in the world is located around one of those. So throughout history, we've always had a deep fascination for diamonds, and places all over the world, including ancient Egypt, as represented by the pyramids here, is the first known talking about diamonds. So the hieroglyphics and also diamond trade sort of started there. But across Eastern and Western civilizations, it's been ubiquitously at the top of that pyramid, excuse the pun, of gemstones has always been diamond, primarily because it's so strong and durable, and the physical properties that it gives us in our eyes is what has drawn us to it. But the Romans, you've got to trust the Romans to always come up with an industrial application for everything. They were the first people to start using diamonds for something other than just pure jewelry. They would use them to carve cameos in shells, which exists today. That's a trend that's existing even through to today. But they also exported them through to China, and the Chinese created jade carving industries, and their whole industry was dependent upon that. Diamond, obviously being the hardest substance, it carves everything like butter. And the Chinese also tipped drill bits and skewered pearls, so they created the pearl industry, which we're all familiar with today. So it's quite fascinating to think that those industries are reliant on, small amounts of industrial diamond, and that dates as far back as this. But in 1701, the Regent diamond, which was found in India, was put into the French crown jewels. After the revolution, it was stolen during the revolution, and after the revolution, magically, that diamond appeared in the hilt of Napoleon's sword. So you might say that was the original blood diamond right there. Not to take this down a notch on a negative thought like that, 3 centuries later, the largest diamond ever found, the Cullinan diamond, at over 3,000 carats. Now, after some really careful research, I found out that the analogue, it took me ages to find this, the actual mass and size of the Cullinan diamond is exactly the same as a Big Mac. And I think Napoleon would have called it a Royale with cheese. But you can imagine a diamond that big is quite ugly the way it looks right there. So what they needed to do is cleave it and chop it and change it. And out of that, the largest jewel quality diamond ever made was 530 carats, and that's in the British crown jewels at the moment. But it's incredible to think that although diamond is beautiful, obviously beautiful, it's also the most versatile of compounds. I mean, its industrial uses are almost unlimited because of the hardness, mainly because of the chemical properties that it has. It can be used in so many different things, but I'm just going to name two of them that probably float the boat of the audience that I'm talking to here. One is in optics. So in telescopes need to have a really well-ground lens, and the way that they do that, the way they get the polish to be so fine, so amazing, is through diamond paste that they use. So the field of astronomy would be greatly impoverished were it not for the discovery of diamond and diamond dust. As well as a really new and cool application, which is in the medical field. So you take a scalpel, and now it's possible through this technique called chemical vapor deposition to actually grow a thin layer of carbon onto a thin layer of diamond actually onto the cutting edge of the blade. So applying it to a substrate increases its efficacy by orders of magnitude, along with its durability. So that helps in patient outcomes as well. So it's pretty amazing stuff. But that's enough about the practicality. We need to talk about the beauty. Every time I show a customer a perfectly cut diamond, every time, because we have this thing called a proportion scope, you look under it and you can see what a perfectly cut diamond looks like. Every single time, actually not every time, 9 out of 10 times, the word that comes out of their mouth is wow. Now, I want to ask the question, I've always asked the question, why wow? Why is it, what is it about diamond, about the way that it scintillates that makes everybody almost universally yell out the word wow and get all giddy? And look, the question is open, and I think that there needs to be more research here, but I'm going to put a little proposal to you. That I think people are familiar, some people might not be, I'll go through it, that the brain, when you're in love, you become a little bit silly. And parts of your brain, I'm in love right now, and that's why I'm a pretty silly guy. But I'm in love with all of you too. But the brain in love, there are certain parts of the brain that are associated with judgment. So the frontal lobe and the amygdala, they quieten down. And then there are other parts of the brain that are associated with reward that get a bit more excited, and they're the ones that release dopamine and norepinephrine. So really what happens when you're in love is those parts of the brains, and this is done through functional MRI scanning. The same areas of the brain light up and shut down when people are exposed to objects of beauty, things that they like. And diamonds are at the top of that list. So I propose that diamonds, we are predisposed, our brains are hardwired to find certain things beautiful. Diamonds and gold and certain types of jewelry being some of those things. But we're not the only species that do this. I've got to flick through. In a famous experiment in 1947, this guy here, Nico Tinbergen, he's a Dutch Nobel laureate, did an experiment on herring gulls. You can see they've got little red marks on their beak. He noticed that the little herring gull chicks would peck incessantly at this red dot. And he wondered whether it was because these chicks love their mum or just love the red dot. So he, being really good at paper mache, created a fake duck or fake herring gull, whatever, and put a red dot on it. And sure enough, these herring gull chicks went mental for it. And so really their brain, if we were going to put them through a functional MRI scan, I'm sure we'd find that the same parts of the brain that are associated with reward and that are associated with the same areas to do with love would be the ones that light up because they absolutely love red dots. And so what am I trying to say here? I'm trying to say that there is an analogy here that the inherited characteristics that have enabled these birds to survive is the love of a red dot. And similarly for us, we are sexually selected. Charles Darwin's other fantastic idea of sexual selection, which is another addition to natural selection, shows that we are indeed a species that loves that. And De Beers, in their wisdom, were one of the few companies that put a price on that. They actually put a price and an amount of calories you need to burn in order to get to the love that you're looking for, which sounds horrible and crass, and it is, and they came up with 2 months. Apparently it's 2 months salary and you get what you're looking for, which it is horrible and crass, but I suppose that's the industry I work in, and so I have to come to terms with that. That's why I've taken up drinking. So I'm just going to wrap up by saying that it would be nice if we could combine these two things, the diamonds with the the things that we love, the people that we love, if we could combine them. And we can. I've actually got an example of a human who's become a diamond. Now, this is a process. I was talking before about how we can make diamonds in the lab. Well, this guy is Jerry. Jerry wrote in his will about 3 years ago that when he died, he wanted to be made into a diamond, and his wife obliged after he died. So we can do that now. This is a true diamond. We can, in the lab, convert you into a diamond if you so choose. I've got this in my will now, so I'm going to be turned into a diamond. That's a typical jeweler move right there. But 18% of your body is carbon. So what we do, we wait for you to die. Or not. I mean, we don't have to. There could be Adelaide's first blood diamond. And then we separate out all the pesky other molecules. We're left with carbon, which is the only beautiful one, really, in my opinion. And then we put you into a pressure chamber, condense you into under 5 gigapascals, which is exactly 50,000 times less than the pressure that I'm feeling right now here on this podium. And then heat you up to 1,500 degrees, and after a week, you're turned into exactly this. And I just think that that's awesome. So on that note, I want you all to turn yourselves into diamonds. Thank you very much. And